the mouse. Walt Disney World. Like no other place on Earth, it's where people check reality at the door. Escape is the name of the game because Disney invented what everyone calls theme parks. In the next hour, we go inside their fantasy world and uncover the incredible story of what makes Walt Disney World tick. Watch as we reveal the secrets to their success and explore the makings of their colossal parks, thrill rides, and attractions. Forget everything you thought you knew. We're going behind the scenes, and we've got exclusive footage that has never been seen before. Join us as we uncover the hidden world of this Orlando-based empire and reveal some of Disney's best-kept secrets. In Walt Disney World Resort, Behind the Scenes. Walt Disney World. These three words evoke images that most everyone has seen or experienced. A world of fantasy and make-believe. It is a complete escape from reality. And the most popular vacation destination on Earth.
Nothing's ever going to be like Disney.
Kids dream about it. The competition studies it. No one has ever been able to duplicate it. So what makes Walt Disney World #1?
Disney is held to a higher standard because Disney started out holding itself to a higher standard.
How do they keep people coming back?
The expectations of people who come to Disney are probably higher than when they do anything else in their life.
And what is the real story of Walt Disney World?
Walt Disney World is definitely the #1 destination for tourism in the entire world.
4 theme parks, 3 water parks, 18 resort hotels, and more visitors than any other place on Earth. "47 square miles of Orlando, Florida, twice the size of Manhattan. It's every kid's fantasy, and adults spend millions to make it come true."
I think going to Walt Disney World has become a rite of passage for American children. And I think that once they get grown up and have their own children, that they're going to bring them back.
But is Walt Disney World just for kids?
It doesn't matter what's going on in the rest of the world. You forget about all of it when you're here. Everybody's 10 years old.
I've always been impressed every time I've come here by how big it is and how much it changes every time I come. The place is absolutely huge, and each time there's always a new park.
We like Disney so much that we put a monorail system that runs around the entire perimeter of our house, complete with a contemporary hotel and Spaceship Earth.
We came on Dedication Day, October 25th, 1971, and we've come practically every month since that time, so that's been at least 400 times or more.
But how did it all begin? Once upon a time, there was no Walt Disney World. There was only California's Disneyland. When Disneyland opened in 1955, there was nothing like it. It was an escape from the carnivals and sideshows of the day. Families were safe at Disneyland.
Disneyland was completely an original concept. It took you away from the world as you knew it and transported you to a different place.
Critics predicted failure, but the public disagreed, and they came in droves. Today it's different, but in the 50s, the park was surrounded by tacky restaurants and cheap hotels.
Harbor Boulevard had become just a neon jungle of terrible signs, and Walt hated it because it was the way people came to the entrance to Disneyland.
And I just got mad down at Disneyland, and I said, when we go out again, I said, we're not going to have this happen to us, where we take the blame.
Disney scoured the country for a place to start over.
The Disney entourage was flying over Central Florida, and Walt looked down and he saw the crisscross of I-4 and Florida's Turnpike, and he said, that's it, that's where we go.
To prevent another neon jungle, Walt knew he needed to buy a lot of land. And if word got out, the price of that land would skyrocket. he had to keep it secret. Special operatives were hired to oversee this covert mission. They were able to stay under the radar and purchased more than 27,000 acres using false identities.
They created 5 dummy corporations that bought the land so that people here in Central Florida who were watching this take place could not tell that it was the Walt Disney Company that was behind these land purchases.
In 1965, Disney's cover was blown, and land prices jumped from $200 an acre to $1,000 virtually overnight.
This is where the early planning is taking place for our so-called Disney World project.
Walt never saw his dream realized. He died in December of 1966.
When Walt died, I think it really slowed us down quite a bit.
The loss of Walt Disney was a serious blow to the company. Without Walt's guidance, the first Florida theme park, the Magic Kingdom, would be modeled after Disneyland.
I think of Disneyland in California as charming, and the one in Florida is spectacular. Obviously, they had the land, and there was no Harbor Boulevard 10 feet to the side of Tomorrowland.
Turning Florida swampland into a Magic Kingdom was nothing short of impossible. Thousands of construction workers labored day and night. It was one of the world's largest private construction projects. And with so much land, they were able to get creative.
We wanted to elevate the whole Magic Kingdom so you could see it from a distance away.
You won't notice it when you enter the park. But when you're in the Magic Kingdom, you're actually a full 14 feet above the ground. So what's going on below the surface?
On the lower level, all the servicing is done, and all the employees come to work and distribute out into the park, while the guests are on the upper level where, you know, all the guest activities and the magic unfolds.
October of 1971, the moment arrived. Walt Disney World opened to the public. Disney was ready, but where were the crowds?
Opening day, October 1971, was a very frightening experience for all of us because the word got out that there were going to be mobs of people and you couldn't get there on the roads.
After the rocky start, attendance took off. But did they misjudge their audience?
I think most of us had the impression that Florida was a lot of old people. We quickly realized that it was the same audience that we were already drawing to Disneyland, and that was the family audience.
Through the years, the Magic Kingdom grew. New rides and attractions were added. According to Amusement Business magazine, the Magic Kingdom is now the top dog in U.S. theme park attendance. Its design is unique. 5 themed lands surround a central hub: Adventureland, Frontierland, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, and Liberty Square. They seem random, but they're not. They were themed to promote Disney's films and TV shows.
On television, Uncle Walt showed every kid growing up in America the adventures of Davy Crockett in Frontierland and the adventures of the African lion for Adventureland.
The lands connect to the hub and radiate out like the spokes of a wheel. Now, most theme parks follow Disney's design. Near the center of the hub, one of the most recognizable symbols in the world, Cinderella Castle. At 189 feet, it can be seen from miles away. So, how many stones did it take to build this princess's palace? None. It may look like stone, but it's actually a mountain of steel and fiberglass.
The important thing here is that we have very strong winds in Central Florida, so things have to be built to standards that will withstand hurricanes.
Tall tales surround many castles. Cinderella's is no exception. Some say the spires can be removed in the event of a hurricane. They're wrong. But the castle hides some secrets that are true.
One thing that is interesting is there actually was going to be an apartment for Walt Disney and his family inside the castle. The room was built, but of course Walt Disney passed away before the Magic Kingdom opened, so it was used for many years by the telephone operators here at Walt Disney World.
Every day, thousands of visitors storm the Magic Kingdom. The first thing they see? Main Street, USA. This theme park version of early America is modeled after Walt's childhood town of Marceline, Missouri. The shops on Main Street would be right at home in Hollywood. Why? They're built like film sets.
The buildings on Main Street are full scale at the bottom, and then they get a little bit smaller as they go up higher, and that's important because to have a 3-story plus building here on Main Street in this close proximity to each other and this length would really be huge in scale to the rest of the parks.
The Magic Kingdom is Walt Disney's legacy. It's a small world. Peter Pan's flight and the Jungle Cruise are all his creations. The last attraction Walt influenced? The Haunted Mansion. In the Haunted Mansion, doom buggies take visitors on a spine-chilling journey.
Now don't close your eyes and don't try to hide.
Within these walls are some of Disney's oldest and best special effects. A disembodied head floats in a crystal ball. Ghosts haunt creepy corridors. And then there is one of Disney's best-kept secrets. The ghosts in the dining room. The ghosts have been mystifying visitors for years, but the technology that creates them is pretty simple.
In the Haunted Mansion, we have several special effects, and a lot of those are based on techniques that were developed by magicians years ago, and parlor tricks, reflections in glass, and all things that have been around since, you know, long before Disney was designing attractions.
We spin our own webs, we dust the cobwebs as well, and we have to make sure that our custodial crew knows, don't clean the cobwebs, and please don't dust the dust.
After 30 years, the Haunted Mansion still packs them in.
I think people come back to the Haunted Mansion for a couple of reasons. One is it has an edge to it, and another reason is that we put an awful lot of details into it. You can ride this attraction many times and see things that you never saw before.
But how does it all work? The spooks in the Haunted Mansion are all controlled from a top-secret location. Our cameras were granted a very rare look into this highly sensitive and restricted area. The Digital Animation Control Systems, or DACS.
DACS is the nerve center electronically of the park.
More than 1,100 robotic figures called audio animatronics and 700 soundtracks are all controlled from here. This is the brains of the Magic Kingdom. Inside this one cabinet, all the creatures of the Haunted Mansion.
This contains all of the sounds throughout the attraction from end to end. This is a raven from the graveyard scene. Here are some cats from the graveyard. And, of course, one that everyone will recognize, the howling dog. He's on the outside.
DAC's sophisticated control systems go beyond the attractions. They also bring Disney characters to life in the daily parade. Despite tired feet and the sometimes sweltering heat, people line up hours in advance to catch the parade.
The parade on Main Street makes Main Street come alive. Our guests expect a parade every day, and people wait for the parade.
More than 100 performers, float drivers, and technicians bring it to life every day of the year. Buried beneath the street is a top-secret tracking system that controls the speed of the floats.
The core of the tracking system is our pucks, or RFIDs. What we have is about 300 of these actually embedded in the pavement on the street. What happens is the float travels down the street, drives over these, scans it, sort of like a barcode at the grocery store type of system.
In a split second, the computer at DACS is alerted. These floats are a cutting-edge collection of mechanical wizardry. With a battery-powered drive system, high-powered sound system, and onboard air conditioning, each float is a mini rolling theater.
We also have an individual computer on each float that does all the programming.
tells all the effects when to turn on, when to turn off, when the turntables rotate, when the turntables stop.
When it comes to entertainment at Walt Disney World, the Main Street Parade is the tip of the iceberg. More than 1,700 performers take to the stage every day.
I think we're the largest producer and creator and performer of entertainment that happens on a regular basis every day in the world.
But the Magic Kingdom was just the beginning. Coming up next, a radical new theme park. Epcot makes its mark on the world. And buckle up for Disney's fastest ride ever. And later, it's Disney's most terrifying creation. Are you brave enough to ride? Disney's theme park of the future when we come back. On July 4th, 4 theme parks, 3 water parks, dozens of hotels. This is Walt Disney World. For 11 years straight, the Magic Kingdom was the only theme park at Walt Disney World. The success of this park inspired Disney chiefs to tackle another, Epcot. Epcot was Walt's vision for a Disney-fied utopian city of the future.
The most exciting, the most important part of our Florida project will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow. We call it Epcot.
The Imagineers struggled. How would they build Walt's city of tomorrow?
Eventually, the realization struck that you can't have people living and working in the same community that people are coming through.
It was up to Disney's Imagineers to decide what Epcot would be. Some wanted a technology showcase of the future. Others voted for a permanent World's Fair. Future World and World Showcase were concepts for 2 different parks. Then, in one pivotal moment, it all came together.
One day, Marty got on one model and John got on another, and they literally pushed them together, and that became Epcot.
Communications, energy, transportation, farming. These were the subjects of the attractions that made up Future World. For World Showcase, picture-perfect pavilions representing various countries were created with a fanatical attention to detail. Mexico, China, France, and Germany were among the first.
We didn't want to focus on one part of the globe as much as to have a sampling of cultures from around the world.
And I think we were very successful, actually, in creating architectural icons that really evoke the majesty of these countries.
At 260 acres, Epcot was more than twice the size of the Magic Kingdom, and an enormous risk for Walt Disney World. A decade of planning, 3 years of construction, 3,000 designers and 4,000 construction workers, and this was only the beginning. 54 million cubic feet of dirt had to be moved, and the clock was ticking. By the end of the first year of operation, the total cost of Epcot was a reported $1 billion.
It was an amazing time. We really felt like we were doing something that no one had ever done before. We felt like we were reinventing this notion of a World's Fair or a theme park or a city of tomorrow and doing something totally different. It was exciting. Great time.
Epcot needed an icon, its own Cinderella castle. But a French chateau in a city of tomorrow wasn't going to cut it. The solution? A colossal geodesic sphere called Spaceship Earth. At 180 feet high and more than 16 million pounds, there's nothing else like it.
This is the first geodesic sphere that ever was completely lifted off the ground. All of them had been domes for a good reason. Nobody could figure out how to complete that dome, that hemisphere, and turn it into a full sphere and then lift it off the ground.
October 1982, Epcot opens. A radical departure from Disneyland in the Magic Kingdom. No one knew how the public would react.
When they first opened, they had a rough time getting the message across as what it was. And a lot of people said, all this is just a World's Fair. And the Disney officials kept saying, no, it's much, much more.
My niece was disappointed when she went to Epcot because she wanted the rides. She didn't want to learn about how hydroponic plants are grown.
Well, I think the notion that Epcot is an educational place has always kind of been a little bit of a challenge for it. You know, it's always been like, oh, gee, do I really want to get educated on my vacation?
Walt Disney World knew Epcot had to change, and it did. The world's largest man-made ocean environment, an interactive technology showcase, and a 3D special effects show kept the turnstiles turning. But it wasn't enough. Epcot was missing an essential ingredient.
Through the years, they realized that the people that come to Disney wanted thrill rides.
One of Epcot's early attractions, the World of Motion, was ready for a facelift. Its sponsor, General Motors, wanted a change. High-level meetings with Disney ensued. The question? How to turn a tired attraction into a white-knuckle thrill ride.
And one of the things that really struck us was the testing grounds, the proving grounds, where they put the cars through these torture tests. We said, this is really fascinating. They said, okay, that could be this Gatebuster attraction.
In 1999, Test Track blew the lid off of Epcot. And considering the cost, it should have.
It's widely believed within the industry that the Test Track is probably the most expensive ride ever built on Disney property.
Test Track puts you through all the punishing tests vehicles go through before production. There are teeth-chattering suspension tests, breath-catching brake tests, and hot and cold climate tests. The gut-wrenching finale, a 65-mile-an-hour speed test. The result? The fastest ride at Walt Disney World. Each of the 31 vehicles contains 3 computers. According to Disney, they crank out more processing power than those on board the space shuttle. The torture tests take their toll.
Each vehicle runs about 150 miles a day. So in a year's time, we put a lot of mileage on them.
Test Track was a tire-eating machine. 1 week on this track, and the tires had to be changed.
This is due to a surface on the track, which is similar to aircraft carriers.
Desperate for help, a major tire manufacturer was brought on board.
They helped develop a special slick tire, special compound with heavier sidewalls just to keep these tires going. And our tire wear has increased from about 1 week to 4 months.
Test Track put Epcot on every thrill seeker's must-see list.
I like Test Track because you can do things there that you can't do on the road.
Test Track isn't alone on Epcot's thrill list. World Showcase sets the stage for Disney's most ambitious spectacle, Illuminations.
I don't think there's any place else in the world where you can see something in the round for a nighttime spectacular that incorporates not only a story, but a significant amount of effects that I think are done exceptionally well.
Thousands of fireworks, massive fountains, blinding flame effects, and enormous spherical television. This nighttime extravaganza packs them in for every show. It's how Epcot ends its day.
I think Illuminations is certainly one of the largest shows we've ever done. It's one of the most technically complicated shows we've ever done.
With live fireworks wired to detonate, the barges containing the show effects are floated onto the lagoon each day.
The first barge we take out is the Earth Globe. It weighs approximately 350,000 pounds, has 4 260 horsepower jet engines in it.
With 15,500 miniature video screens, it's not your average television. This Titanic TV floats, spins, and explodes.
The video on the Earth Globe is very, very new. No one's ever wrapped a video around the world on an Earth Globe and then made it turn.
In the center of it all, the Inferno barge. Packed with 4,000 gallons of liquid propane, this fiery monster is primed to explode. but only on cue.
Each of the nozzles that you can see behind and around me are different types of effects. They might have a mushroom cloud come out, or the nozzles right behind me are a straight impinging jet.
Hopefully, there's just the spirit of fun that goes with the nighttime spectacular at night. That the last thing they see, and what we've always called it, is our kiss goodnight.
But Epcot is still only the beginning. Coming up next, Disney goes to the movies, and thrill rides become the name of the game. And later, lions, tigers, and dinosaurs? Disney's biggest thrills when we come back. Walt Disney World. Once just a magic kingdom, it made Epcot a household word. Then in 1983, the very foundations of the Disney company were shaken. Declining profits, hostile corporate takeovers. The future of Walt Disney World suddenly looked bleak.
The Disney theme parks and the Disney Corporation was very non-edgy. It was corporate business. They were struggling. They were trying to redefine the whole company. And the parks were suffering because of it.
The early 80s was probably one of the rockiest times for the Disney company. We finished Epcot. While it morphed quite a bit in what we delivered there, it was still something that was in the table that Walt had left us of things to do. But now here we were with no great dream that Walt Disney had left.
When Michael Eisner became CEO in 1984, he took the mouse by the ears. Things were going to change.
Michael Eisner and the entire staff of the theme parks really jumped in and said, let's reinvent the theme park. Let's invest some money. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they did.
The world you have entered was created.
Michael Eisner knew Walt Disney World needed a facelift. The obvious choice? Another theme park. Plans were already on the table for a new Epcot pavilion. It was based on the movies.
The idea became so compelling and so exciting that pretty much everybody said, this is an idea that's much bigger than one attraction or one pavilion.
So the magic of Hollywood would come to Orlando in Disney's next theme park.
We were trying to go for a combination of sort of working studio and the Hollywood that everybody thinks was, but really never was there, the sort of dream of Hollywood.
On the other side of town, another entertainment giant started muscling in on Disney's turf.
A lot of people think that when Universal Studios decided to build and announce a studio here in Central Florida, that Disney reacted and said, oh my gosh, we have to build a studio. Well, in reality, Disney had already been working on one. They had it on the back burner for a while, then they put it on the front burner.
The race was on. Who would open first? In May of 1989, it was the Disney MGM Studios. There were rides, shows, and a working production studio.
At the time when Disney MGM Studios opened, it was probably the most defined theme park ever. Everything was very, very strong.
In the race to open first, major attractions were left on the drawing table. The park was too small, and the public wanted in.
When the park first opened, we had two rides, the Great Movie Ride and then the Backstage Studio Tour featuring Catastrophe Canyon.
There was only one way to expand.
One thing that was lacking, and the entire property was lacking at that time, were thrill rides.
But did Disney have what it takes to thrill the next generation?
In the early 80s, that was Star Wars, E.T., Indiana Jones. And our company was not in touch with where the young people were at that time. So I went to management and I said, we really need to get involved with George Lucas. And it was sort of like heresy.
Finally, there was a meeting of the minds. Disney sat down with George Lucas.
And George said, you know, if I wasn't able to do it on my own, the only company that I'd want my product in would be Disney, because I think both of us have a recognized leadership in the type of products we do.
And we thought that the idea of taking the George Lucas Star Wars characters and that kind of adventure thing and sort of spinning the exterior so it felt like it was more of a movie set would be a perfect addition to this park.
Star Tours was the first motion simulator ride ever created. By integrating film and motion simulation, visitors are transported into the world of Star Wars.
I remember the trench shot in the first Star Wars film, and everyone in the audience, you know, was right there going, God, if I could only feel that, you know, wouldn't it be great?
Star Tours was a hit. Thrill rides were the name of the game. But how to top it?
We looked at other kinds of thrill experiences that existed in the world, and one was a free fall kind of attraction. We thought, how could you take that kind of experience and put a story around it?
And how would that story make sense in a movie theme park?
And that's when we decided to take the layer of the Twilight Zone and add a recognizable story and character element to it.
Years of design, testing, and construction led to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. This colossal attraction dominates the skyline at the Disney MGM Studios. It's one of the most intricately themed and mechanically complicated rides at any park.
The moment you walk into the park, it's huge. And when the doors pop open and you hear guests screaming, you know that's an attraction I want to ride.
Visitors enter the cobweb-infested lobby of a deserted hotel. Their next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Oh, there you are. We've been expecting you.
One Halloween night in 1939, something amazing happened. 5 guests were traveling in an ordinary elevator when an unbelievable phenomenon happened. A lightning bolt struck the tower, and the elevator disappeared. These 5 people forever transfixed into the Twilight Zone.
This, as you may recognize, is a maintenance service elevator, still in operation, waiting for you. We invite you, if you dare, to step aboard, because in tonight's episode, you are the star. And this elevator travels directly to the Twilight Zone.
A creepy boiler room.
We are pleased that out of all the hotels in Hollywood, you chose to stay with us.
An abandoned elevator. A motor that's seen better days. Sounds like a horror film. And it is.
Please, do enjoy your stay.
The lift ascends quickly. You know that for every floor you go up, you're going to come down. Spooky apparitions appear. They are only a distraction for what lies ahead. Suddenly, the doors open, and you are thrust forward. No elevator has ever done this before. A moment of silence, and then... This elevator is unlike anything ever created. Until now, Disney has never allowed cameras into the heart of this beast, the elevator shaft.
This is one of the lifts that will take you up and down at a very high rate of speed. This is where the big piece of this attraction is located.
During the drop, riders descend at a stomach-churning rate of more than 1,900 feet per minute.
The lift is actually dropping at a higher rate of speed than gravity. We're pulling it down quicker than that, which means that everything is basically floating as you're moving down.
This elevator doesn't stop there. It drops its victims over and over. You never know how many times you'll fall.
Because of the computer programming that we have with this ride, we've been able to change that as the years have gone by. Where now we have multiple drops that take place every time the guests experience the ride.
We just went on the Tower of Terror twice because it is just so much fun. It picks you up and it drops you. It picks you up and it drops you, and you just never know when it's going to end. It's really cool.
With the addition of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Disney MGM Studios became the Walt Disney World Park for thrill junkies. As if it wasn't big enough, coming up next, an explosion of growth. And there's a new beast on the block. Lions move in with the mouse. When we come back, 96, Orlando was the theme park capital of the world. Competition had moved in, preying upon Disney's success. Walt Disney World was still #1, and Michael Eisner wanted to keep it that way.
In January of 1990, Eisner announced the Disney Decade, and people kept saying, what is a Disney Decade? Well, it was his effort to reinvent the theme parks.
Step 1, keep people on Disney property.
Disney's taken a huge initiative in the last 10 or more years to build more hotel rooms because they realized millions of people were coming to Orlando, and Disney was the reason most of them were coming to Orlando, and they were staying off property.
Walt Disney World added a whopping 12,500 hotel rooms. To Eisner, the designs were crucial.
Because he always said, if you go to see a bad movie or bad TV program, after 2 days, you forget about it. But if you design a bad building, it's going to be sitting there, and they'll be staring at it for a long time.
Like the lands in the parks, Disney themes their resorts.
We don't want to just build regular hotels like matchboxes. They'll be so boring. We want to make sure every hotel will have its own architectural character and architectural style.
Fanatics for detail, Disney mocks up every room design.
Once we know, the model room works, the rest of 500 or 1,000 rooms will work as well.
When their latest resort is completed, they'll have close to 30,000 hotel rooms, which, surprisingly, is about half as many hotel rooms as are in all of New York City.
With so many wannabe theme parks treading on Disney's turf, hotel rooms were only part of the plan. A host of new attractions were added to entice people to spend even more time at Walt Disney World.
Walt Disney World has expanded over the years in a variety of different ways, and probably the biggest reason is we wanted to become an all-inclusive destination experience for our guests.
Now more and more parks are starting to try to do the same thing. They are learning from Disney that building hotels and building retail helps keep people on your property.
Part 2 of the plan, Michael Eisner had something else up his sleeve.
Michael Eisner had advanced the idea that we should look into doing something with animals.
It would take them into uncharted territory, the animal kingdom, and another theme park.
As soon as we realized that we would be asked to design something that was going to have live animals in it, we realized that there was a tremendous amount we were going to need to learn.
With animals come huge risks, and Disney can never afford to fail.
The concerns were that if you did something with animals, you would be in competition with zoos, and that there are so many zoos all around the country that it would be very difficult to differentiate yourself, to get people to understand that this was something that you wanted to fly down to Florida to see.
At 500 acres, Disney's Animal Kingdom is a monster. The Magic Kingdom, Epcot, the Disney MGM Studios combined, they fit comfortably inside Disney's 4th theme park.
Building Animal Kingdom was a new challenge for the Walt Disney Company because they'd never done it.
6 years in the making, 1 million square feet of rock work, 43,000 truckloads of dirt. The cost? A reported $800 million. Disney's Animal Kingdom, part animal park, part theme park. This was the new beast on the block.
They call it a new species or thrill park. So it was a new challenge, and they're still trying to identify to a lot of people what it's all about. You know, it's not a zoo. It's a species of theme park that happens to deal with animals.
I think Disney's Animal Kingdom has been a success in that it's given Disney a product to offer people that isn't Busch Gardens.
In the year 2000, the Disney Decade was done.
Well, Eisner was able to pull it all together. And over that 10-year period, Everybody was surprised, including myself, what he was able to accomplish as far as reinventing the parks.
But the Disney decade wasn't the end. Coming up, Walt Disney World enters the new millennium. But what will they think of next? Find out when we return. According to Amusement Business magazine, Walt Disney World attracts nearly 40 million visitors per year. In fact, the Walt Disney Company holds the top 5 spots for theme park attendance.
Walt Disney World, beyond a doubt, is the most attended amusement resort in the entire world.
Disney strives for excellence, and many say their employees are no exception.
Take a ride, and then it's going to be right. The thing that Walt Disney World does better than anyone else is service. In fact, if you think about the fact that they don't call people who visit their attractions customers, but rather guests, and they try to treat them as though they are a guest in their home.
Disney calls them cast members. The ranks of Walt Disney World's workforce has swelled from 5,500 to a whopping 55,000.
We happen to be the largest single-site employer in the United States, and as a result of that, of course, there are going to be times where it's challenging to hire the cast members that we need to work here.
The expectations of people who come to Disney, I think, are probably higher than when they do anything else in their life.
Disney is held to a higher standard because Disney started out holding itself to a higher standard.
In the battle for theme park visitors, Disney can't afford to get lazy.
Competition is really good because it keeps you on your toes. It makes you want to go beyond where you were before. It makes you want to run faster.
The Disney company will continue to expand because they need to expand to keep tourists coming back.
We have land set aside for more hotels, even for more theme parks. We can continue to develop for the next many decades.
I think the biggest change that our guests are going to see in the future is a technological advancement. We want to use technology, like a good example is FastPass. We have introduced new technology into our parks that basically take the lines away, and guests don't have to wait in a line anymore.
The technologies that are available to us today in terms of display systems and motion systems and the ability to synthesize and make things seem real are so much greater that we can literally take you anywhere.
You really have limitless territory to work at because you can go wherever the imagination takes you.
While Disney won't release specifics about future plans for Walt Disney World, one thing is certain. Whatever they are, they will rely on the one thing that no other theme park on Earth can duplicate: the philosophy and tradition of Walt Disney.
The belief system and the heritage and tradition that Walt left us was something that is very, very positive and very, very powerful, even today.
Nothing's ever going to be like Disney. Really, it never will be, and probably will never even approach it.
As soon as they come up that gangway, we make them aware of the fact that we do have areas around the ship just for adults, just for families, and just for children.
Our choice for the cruise ship that's best for families has the most extensive children's programming on water and is the only cruise with its own private island. How is this possible? Try to imagine the magic of Disney World at sea. Disney Cruise Line is where families get to cast away.
On the Disney Wonder, for instance, they have almost an entire deck dedicated to their children's program.
Fill up the beaker up until the 50th.
When Disney decided to venture into the cruise ship business, they broke the mold, literally. They built staterooms 25% larger than industry standard and did something that no other cruise line had ever done before. They actually bought one of the islands in the Bahamas.
It is absolutely immaculate, and there's no better way to describe it than sheer paradise.
Today, the 1,000-acre island is known as Castaway Cay. To get there, the Disney Wonder cruise ship departs from nearby Port Canaveral, Florida, then stops over in Nassau. Itineraries range from 3 to 4 days, but for a longer trip, you can try its sister ship, Disney Magic. Together, they cruise the Caribbean year-round.
We get our guests into the mood upon embarkation, starting with our sail-away party upstairs on Deck 9. We bring out the characters, we have live music, and it's just one big festive party.
Though the Disney Wonder's hull evokes the classic design of transatlantic liners, this cruise ship is modern and innovative. Most of the 877 staterooms feature an industry first, a bath and a half. And with 11 passenger decks, Disney Cruise Line provides plenty of elbow room.
We hold 2,700 guests, and the ship is 964 feet long, over 3 football fields to be exact. I've got the largest entertainment department anywhere in the world at sea.
The Disney Wonder pairs their younger passengers with counselors to help them navigate the extensive children's programming. This cruise ship boasts an entire deck of games and activities that's 15,000 square feet. Each facility is dedicated to a specific age group. The hours are long, but Disney insists that the fun never stops.
We have an extensive program for them from 9 o'clock in the morning all the way around until 1 o'clock in the morning. It's more than just a babysitting service. It's an education.
Was learning ever this much fun? From a goofy class for amateur cartoonists
do half the heart on the one cheek, half the heart on the other cheek,
to a loopy laboratory for mad scientists.
They really like it, this age group, because it's gooey, it's gross. It's the green slime that they get their hands in and all over the place. Cross your fingers! Cross your toes! Please turn green! Is it going green? Oh my goodness!
Let's just say they're overwhelmed, they're surprised, and they're even more surprised that they can take it home with them.
On the Disney Wonder, even teenagers finally get their wish. Common Grounds is a private New York-style cafe reserved just for them. No adults are allowed.
So we can kind of see moms and dads peeking, trying to sneak a peek through the doorway and have a look and see what's going on up there.
And if parents want some privacy of their own, they can go to dinner at Palo's for an elegant adults-only evening. When it comes to food, Disney paints with a colorful palette. In fact, Disney Cruise Line was the first to offer rotational dining on board. Guests eat at a new restaurant every night, and one of the favorites is Animator's Palette. The walls start off in black and white and transform into full color over the course of the meal. But on our best family cruise, the best course is always served last. Final stop for the Disney Wonder is the sun-drenched beaches of Castaway Cay. With this ship, there's no need to waste time tendering ashore. The Disney Wonder is the only cruise ship in the world that can dock right next to its own private island. Just drop the gangway and go.
Castaway Cay, our magical island, is unmatched anywhere in the industry. We have a beach just for the adults, the teenagers, the families, a sports beach. We have a children's area called Stella's Cove with secured programming.
Pretend you're nice and tall for me, David. We have our strong chick journey.
Castaway Cay is the perfect place to row, paddle, or just float your boat. And while their parents indulge in an open-air massage or snorkel through a shipwreck, rosy-cheeked pirates can look for buried treasure at the whale dig.
I like everything, from the food to the children's programs to the entertainment in the evening. Everything has been fabulous.
Disney Cruise Line. It's our pick for the best family cruise ship and inspires you to live happily ever after.
Pollutions, sieges, and foreign occupation. Today, Paris remains a city to see and to be seen in. A city of history, a city of romance, just the recipe for a Disney theme park.
Obviously, Mickey Mouse is coming from the United States, but I think what we created in the Walt Disney Studios is a theme park that shows that cinema finds its roots also in Europe. And we try to be educational as well as fun, but that's why we wanted to be in the heart of Europe in Paris.
Disney's newest theme park is like a working movie lot. You can visit real sets from the movies, watch a Disney TV studio in action, and even design your own roller coaster, then ride it. Walt Disney Studio Park opened in 2002 on 61 hectares of former farmland, some 20 miles to the east of the French capital, right next door to what is now Disneyland Resort Paris.
What we have done by creating this new park is to create a resort concept. So the major change being people were using the park as a 1 day or 2 days experience, now to extend to a 3 or 4 days experience.
In Walt Disney Studios Park, we wanted to create the feeling of a real-life working studio. And there's a thematic treatment of architecture and sense of place. And we use techniques such as prop placement, colors, architectural detail to get that message across. We're telling you a story without you being aware that we're telling you a story.
The wildest ride in the park is the Rock and Roller Coaster, featuring Aerosmith. Riders are blasted headlong into the middle of a pulsating rock music video. The construction of this ride had designers going back to the roller coaster handbook. There were 2 massive loops, inversions, and a corkscrew. In fact, it is the fastest and most ambitious Disney coaster ever attempted. What's more, they wanted the ride undercover, so the engineers took the unusual step of constructing the ride first, then erecting the building around it.
It's not simply a roller coaster, it's actually Aerosmith that are actually here. You're inside this Tour de Force Records, you're going through the reception, you get inside the recording studio, and there you join Aerosmith for this great technological advancement.
Exhaustive stress tests were conducted. The ride hit 70 miles per hour in just 2.8 seconds. That's the same G-force as experienced by a fighter pilot launching his jet from an aircraft carrier.
To design the lighting to be effective and to move, you have to know exactly where the vehicle is and what it's going to look like to the guests. Timing is the biggest challenge for the design because the vehicles are moving so fast. They're twisting and turning, and they're flying through the truss and over the truss and around the building. We have over 300 moving lights within the attraction, and in a typical concert you might have 50 to 100. So it's a huge challenge to do a huge over-the-top light show, and you've got about 50 seconds to do it. I have a very experienced lighting control programmer who works with me, who does concerts, and it's a real partnership between us to create this. But because we're on the floor and we're looking up several 30 meters into the air, we actually need to stop, come out, ride the vehicle, and actually see it from the guest point of view.
That was awesome, dude.
It's wild. You really got to do it. The tears are in my eyes, but it's wonderful.
It's incredible, really.
was fantastic. You guys want to go again?
If this puts your stomach in knots, wait till you see the Cyber Coaster.
Welcome to the Cyberspace Mountain Design Station, where you can design a roller coaster that's out of this world.
Yes, you heard the guy right. You can be just like a Disney designer and create your own virtual roller coaster ride at Cyberspace Mountain.
Of course, faster than light travel is theoretically impossible, but it's cool.
Plot a course of loops, inversions, and hairpins through a virtual landscape on a strange alien planet. Make it as gentle or radical as you dare.
Now let's see how scary your coaster is. Great, your coaster's ready to ride at the Cyberspace Mountain launch bay.
That's right, you get to ride your own creation. Step into the motion simulator and get ready to personally sample every stomach-churning loop and curl you've just designed. The simulator follows your program track, and those loop-the-loops you inserted become horribly real.
Oh, no, here we go.
Each ride is unique, a product of your own imagination and Disney's technology.
It was completely different to what I thought, to be honest. It was like, I thought it'd be nothing, it'd just be a TV screen, but it does really feel like you're actually on a ride. It feels, oh, it knocks you about a bit anyway.
Next on Inside Walt Disney Studios Paris, fast cars, fast action, the hottest stunt show in Europe.
To the hidden corners of our charming cities, to the spirited people and places that are purely American.
Walt Disney Studios Park, Mickey Mouse's European vacation centerpiece. You want action? You found it. The hottest attraction is the Stunt Show Spectacular. It's not just a show, it's a chance for an audience to see how an action scene would be shot for a feature film. It's a larger-than-life movie set, complete with all the action.
Look, you've got yellows and blues and greens.
The setting for the show is a Mediterranean village, and the design team spared no expense to get it right. After searching all over France for inspiration, they found a little fishing village in the south, and then set about recreating that very same scene in the backlots of Walt Disney Studios.
We've opened the show, we've cast all the people, we've brought them down, we've got them dressed up, we turned them into extras, into stagehands.
Right. It was a massive project that Walt's nephew, Roy Disney, kept a keen eye on. Especially when it came time for the stunt drivers to try the set on for size.
He's a showman. He's a showman for sure.
And speaking of showmen, driving this car is one of the best. Ramon "Sonny" Vernon put a successful career in movie and television stunt work on hold to head up the stunt drivers in the show. He worked with Europe's best stunt designers to choreograph the chase sequences and precision driving.
The concept of the show is how to make a movie. And for that, we need actors, SFX, video, audio, and as well, the stuntman.
Today we're going to show you what goes into making action-packed stunt sequences. My name's Jack. I'm the second unit director, and I'm in charge of today's shoot. We're just about ready. Let's run a camera check, Tony.
And I'm Amanda. I'm the second assistant director, and we're going to need your help. Okay, we're looking for first group of actors. Who wants to be in a movie?
The story is, there is a secret agent who has to take an envelope, the secret envelope, and there are the bad guys and the good guys, and the bad guys has to catch the envelope from the hero.
Okay, people, we're ready. Let's do it. Show me the slate.
Valley Chase Sequence 6, take 1.
Okay, cue the first group of extras.
Okay.
So it's your standard bad guy chases good guy, secret envelope kind of plot. But hey, who really cares?
So now you're worried, okay?
This attraction is all about the glamour of movie making, together with fast guys with fast guns in fast cars. The whole sequence is shot from several angles, including a mini helicopter, operated by remote control. No chopper pilot's going to get that close. The cars have a 1,300cc motorbike engine and weigh just 1,300 pounds. They're less than half the weight of a normal car, but 2.5 times more powerful. That means there's no room for error. This is precision stunt work with high stakes.
If they make a mistake, one mistake, it can be a very big problem for the show. Because if one car hits another one, that's a very big problem.
The drivers push themselves and their stunts right to the limit. They use every trick in the book, including putting a car up on 2 wheels. But for Romuald, it's all in the family. Back in 1953, his father became the first stuntman in the world to drive a car like this. The Stunt Show Spectacular lives up to its name. It's a hair-raising scene of Hollywood proportions, a definite highlight of a day at Walt Disney Studios, Paris. At first, France might seem an odd place to build a theme park dedicated to cinema, animation, and television. But in fact, Paris is the birthplace of film.
You know, the ideas and the technology has been taken to the United States, and then they created the first movies. But you know, the magic lamp comes from Prague, not from the United States.
This is the magic lamp, or lantern, modeled here in the shape of the Eiffel Tower for exhibition at the World Fair in Paris in 1889. It's a basic slide projector powered by a flame. Along with other similar creations from around Europe, these were the cutting-edge technology of the time. A year later, there was a huge technological leap when a Frenchman, Etienne Marey, designed the first movie camera, and the Lumiere brothers produced the very first moving picture. This was the beginning of a multi-billion-dollar industry.
I think what we created in the Walt Disney Studios is a theme park that shows that cinema finds its roots also in Europe.
Disney creatives decided to capitalize on cinema's European heritage, and they dreamt up an attraction that draws inspiration from Walt Disney's own passion, animation. They put it all under Mickey Mouse's Sorcerer's Apprentice hat.
As we all know, everything started with a mouse. And at Walt Disney Imagineering, our emblem is Mickey dressed as the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and that was Mickey in his first full-length animated feature, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, as part of Fantasia.
Here is Lascaux is actually where the animation began.
Art of Disney Animation takes you through the history of the moving image, starting with a recreation of paintings discovered on the walls of caves in Spain.
20,000 years ago, there were cavemen who were, amazingly enough, trying to create motion with pictures. by drawing animals with more than 4 legs, for instance, and they were animators 15,000 years ago.
Much later, European inventors began exploring with a phenomenon known as the persistence of vision, where the brain retains an image for slightly longer than our eyes actually see it. By rotating a series of still images over and over, they discovered you can create the illusion of motion.
If you think about that and then you invent film, you have animation.
That's when Walt arrived on the scene and opened his first studios in 1923. He was based in Hollywood, but most of the inspiration was coming from European fairy tales. In fact, 14 of the 17 animated films made during Walt's lifetime were drawn from European legends and fables. Walt and his team very quickly became world leaders in animation, taking the craft to higher levels with new technology. Here's Walt Disney himself explaining one of his team's inventions.
This is the plan for a super cartoon camera. We call it the multiplane camera. Now, when you walk along a country road toward the moon, it certainly doesn't grow larger like this, nor does it shrink in size when you walk away from it. The trouble was we were photographing a flat two-dimensional background. So we set about making plans and blueprints for a new cartoon camera that would overcome this. The different elements in the scene were separated according to their varying distances from the viewer. This put the moon on a plane farthest away from the camera. With our original picture broken down in this manner, it is possible to control the relative speed with which each individual part of it moves to or away from the camera. But the moon remains absolutely still, and so it will always remain the same, neither growing nor shrinking in size.
You can see that actual multi-plane camera that won Walt 2 Oscars on display.
Le dessinateur doit insuffler la vie à son personnage.
Attention!
The art of Disney animation is a comprehensive look at all aspects of the craft.
C'est pour cela que l'on surnomme les
There are demonstrations by real animators. It's all in French, but is simultaneously translated into 5 other languages. Disney's plan was to create a blend of education and entertainment with all kinds of interactive animation experiences.
When you want to draw a cycle or something like this, you have to use the entire arm, all right?
Ever wanted to draw one of the Disney characters yourself?
Then after that, we're going to draw a huge banana for the smile, all right? It's a
The Animation Academy teaches you step by step how to do it. Even the youngest of amateur artists come out of the Academy with a positive result.
Pour l'expression du caractère.
They shouldn't be afraid to draw. I think a lot of kids are a little kind of scared, you know, that won't do it right. And just going ahead and drawing things is a great lesson.
Coming up on Inside Walt Disney Studios Paris, an earthquake catastrophe which will wash you away.
Just in time for July 4th, the Travel Channel's hitting the road in search of the greatest fireworks displays on Earth. Find out which shows pack the biggest pow, the most sizzle, and see how these awesome extravaganzas became a part of the American tradition we know and love. Don't miss 2 full hours of oohs and ahs
with movie props, like the speeder bike from Star Wars Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, or the New York models used during filming of the meteor shower in Armageddon.
When they're wrapping up a production, they'll give us a call and we'll go scuttling on down there or send somebody down and see if there's anything interesting that we can recover for our uses.
These full-scale replica World War II American fighter planes were used in the film Pearl Harbor. They were lying around a studio backlot and had fallen into a state of disrepair. After extensive renovations, the planes were ready for exhibition in the park. Then there's the vehicle collection, the envy of any car enthusiast.
This is where we store our star card, and we have a numerous collection of vehicles. We have a submarine from the miniseries Dinotopia. We have an armored truck and a police car from Con Air and Armageddon. We have the Humvee, which is from The Rock. We have two different period black and white California police cars that have been used in very numerous movies. We have this beautiful piece with a company with its sister taxi vehicle, which was from Pearl Harbor. And I'd like you to take a look at this Cadillac here, because this is a special Cadillac. It was used in one of our gangster movies, and as you can see, we've adapted it to be appropriate for the scene. This car, I'm sure you can guess which movie this came from. The black and white spots, does it mean anything to you? It comes from the 102 Dalmatians film. As does my favorite, which is the Citroën that was driven by Gérard Depardieu in the 102 Dalmatians film as well.
There's an incredible attention to detail in the park, where, in true Disney style, no expense has been spared to make it real.
We have a lot of movie-making equipment in the park that we use as props, and all of that is real. All of the lights, all of the sandbags, all of the cameras, all of the flight cases, everything you see out there is real. We went out and bought real movie-making equipment to use as props.
The best way to see the park's most prized props, location sets, and special effects scenery is on the Studio Tram Tour. You'll see the massive pterodactyl statue sets from the TV series Dinotopia. The highlight of the tour is the special effects stage, Catastrophe Canyon. The tour suddenly becomes part of a scene. The carriages rock on what filmmakers call a hot set. And a full-scale earthquake is underway. Tons of water cascade down, threatening to wash away everything in its path, including the tour. The major challenge of Catastrophe Canyon was marrying the flames and explosions with a seemingly uncontrolled body of water. Not an easy task for the Disney engineers.
The water effect for this attraction, the way this works is that we have large tanks up behind the rockwork. They hold 265,000 liters of water. Prior to the tram coming into the attraction, they're filled. They're verified to be at the correct height. The gates are verified as, everything is verified as sealed and shut and ready for the show. The entire contents of these tanks release and come cascading down these ravines in about a 5 to 10 second time frame. It is quite spectacular.
Water even cascades from above the tram tour in a cataclysmic finale. Then it's on with the tour and another set. This time you're in downtown London, but you can see by the looks on faces something dreadful has taken place. It's battle-scarred and scorched. The set is from the special effects-packed feature film Reign of Fire. In the film, a dragon is disturbed and London destroyed in an apocalyptic battle. Disney's challenge was to pull the set down from its Dublin home and recreate it faithfully in Paris.
For me, the most logistically difficult was the real train wagon that we bought. Real live 40-ton, 30-meter-long train wagon that we bought and then had to clean up, structurally reinforce, paint, build 2 enormous towers for it to sit on because it looks like it's falling off a bridge. And then we had to hire 2 massive cranes, build in special attachments so we could pick the train up and gently lift it down bolt it down onto the columns, and that was quite an event.
In the movie, computer-generated special effects enhance the scenes, but here on set, they rely on blasts of fire and the roars of a reptile. This is a London you'll never forget. Still to come on Inside Walt Disney Studios Paris, what it takes to make the best theme parks in the world.
On July 4th, celebrate the best of our country with the Travel Channel's amazing Americathon. All the sights and sounds that make America.
Disney theme parks are all about family fun. Each park is meticulously put together by what Walt Disney himself termed Imagineers. That's an engineer with imagination. Walt Disney Studios Paris began life as an open field, and the dreams and fantasies of Disney's creatives went to work to build a dream park from scratch.
Well, Imagineering is the blending of creative imagination and technical know-how. And Imagineering was created in 1952 to create Disneyland.
Walt Disney Imagineers are some of the craziest, most fun people on the planet. They are exactly what the name stands for. They are imagination experts and they are engineers.
Roland Cleve was opening crew operations manager. His biggest challenge, installing the water tower, a Disney trademark.
It had to be transported on a huge truck that was specifically made. We had to prepare in advance, way in advance, the exact route that we had to drive. You know, some of the route had electrical wiring and cabling that we had to disconnect. And finally it arrived at the Walt Disney Studios in different elements, so we had to build it in front of the entrance of the park. If you go from a drawing board to the first construction wearing a hard hat and boots, and you know, you're trying to see and to fine-tune how you create a park, up until the day that the first guests really come and visit, and they clap and they applaud, and you see tears of laughter, and that's when it comes to life. And I think that is a very beautiful period to experience.
It's Imagineers who get to decide which Disney characters are featured in the park. At Walt Disney Studios Paris, the genie from Aladdin gets his own ride. The Imagineers made it colorful and cartoon-like. A family-friendly affair with an exotic Arabian Nights theme. But the Imagineers decided to give the ride a filmmaker's twist.
Trying to figure out how to put this flying carpet ride in the studio. And what happens is, apparently Genie from Aladdin, he's a very successful actor. Like all successful actors, now he wants to direct. And so Genie is directing us in his production of Flying Carpets over Agrabah. So we're the extras, and he's yelling encouragement and inspiration to us. People, work with me, smile, smile. So he's being our director, and we're the extras in his film.
So, in their own way, Imagineers turned what was just a normal ride in a theme park into a special film-based attraction for the studios. They want every guest to feel like they're on a working set. Around every corner, a little moment of movie magic is underway. In the Boulevard of Dreams, the movies come to you. A blonde starlet and camera crew are enough to tell you a film shoot is underway, and you get to be the co-star.
You can see the interactivity between the guests and our products every day. The shows are becoming more and more brilliant because of the fact that the guests become involved. So it makes the magic go right through the screen.
The star steadies herself. The extras are hustled. Special effects added. And the cameras roll. And you've just had front row seats in the making of a movie. It's a wrap. Move on to the next scene. Studio 2 is reminiscent of a 1930s Hollywood movie palace.
Bonjour, sortez s'il vous plaît.
And it's home to Cinemagique.
Sometimes people don't want the biggest, fastest, most high-tech attraction. They want emotion and stories. Nobody does that better than Disney.
Cinemagique is all about being transported through the silver screen and living the adventures of our favorite movie characters. Our hero is played by comedian Martin Short. He's cleverly plunged into a series of film genres from both American and European movie history. During the adventure, he falls in love with the leading lady, Julie Delphi.
This doesn't look good.
By the end, our hero is faced with the dilemma.
Why?
Does he return to the real world or follow his heart? What he ends up deciding is a Disney secret that can only be revealed in the attraction. Paris is no stranger to fairground attractions, but on the outskirts of the city, Disneyland Park and its studios offshoot have raised the bar when it comes to 21st century entertainment. All over the world, Disney Imagineers refer to their parks as theme shows. And this Disney theme show is all about being behind the scenes of cinema, animation, and television.
When Disney first created the Disney theme show, he basically had people from the studio that came in and worked for him, and we basically created a theme park which was like a cinema with all the seats deleted. The difference between a film and a Disney theme show is that in a film, there's a linear storyline from start to finish. And in our parks, you can choose your own destination, you can choose your own story.
Every day, thousands of visitors pour into the park, some with a plan in mind, others happy to just let the day unfold. But they can guarantee whatever they do, a Disney Imagineer has had a hand in it. Every ride, even a souvenir stand, must have a reason for being there.
Every detail in our parks has to be backed up with a story, even if the guest doesn't realize it. For us, in terms of our design, it guides us through the whole design process. All of the elements flow from the structural guideline, which is the story. It's the essence which differentiates the Disney theme show from any other.
Next on Inside Walt Disney Studios Paris, the meteor attack that will blow you away.
With over 10,000 beaches, 3,000 casinos, and 1,000...
Recognize this vehicle? It's the armadillo that came straight from the movie set of Armageddon. And this is Armageddon, the theme park attraction. Guests enter from planet Earth, but very quickly find themselves in a Russian space station 70 miles above the planet. And in the middle of a terrifying, flaming meteor shower. The attraction took 2 years of development and presented some engineering challenges. Firstly, the close proximity of the fire effects to the guests needed a lot of attention. After all, the idea was to frighten them, not fry them. Secondly, space is a vacuum. So when the space station is penetrated by a meteor, to be realistic, all the air should be sucked out.
How do we do that? Well, we actually did it. We actually pull a vacuum on the room. It's a gigantic technical feat that we've accomplished.
Not that the guests care about the technology. They're just here to have fun.
We really want you to believe that you're really there. We're telling a story, and we're telling it with conviction. You know, you're really on the space station. You have these asteroids that are arriving. There's collisions in there. And, you know, at that moment, we really want you to believe that that's where you are.
Liquid nitrogen and steam are used to create havoc. The very same techniques utilized during the filming of Armageddon.
In the case of a theme park, of course, it's a little bit more controlled, and it has to be exactly the same every time. On a movie set, you've got multiple takes to get it right. So it's as close as the audience is going to get to experiencing exactly what the actors did.
And at least one actor from the movie approves of the ride.
I cannot wait to get to Paris to see this. That is going to be so exciting. Everybody, you have got to see this. This is what I've been waiting for.
Back on the streets, you could be anywhere in the world.
We're dealing with so many people from so many different cultures and so many different nationalities that we really don't want to put signs everywhere so that people have to read things in different languages. So we try and communicate visually.
My guests speak Spanish, Italian, German, English, French, and who knows how many other languages. I have to come up with ideas and quick gestures, music, a little wink of the eye to get them to understand whether I want them to laugh, cry, applaud, dance, sing, be part of the action. The fact that we are in this multicultural continent of Europe really brings home the fact that Disney stories are for everybody.
The characters are the ambassadors for the Disney images. It's what the children want and expect to see when they walk in the front gate. So the Imagineers at the Paris studios came up with a way of blending Disney characters with a European cinema and theatrical technique. They call it Animagic. Mickey and Donald lead their audience on an animation adventure that turns real. The innovation is the use of blacklight and fluoro colors to make a 3D extravaganza.
Well, blacklight was something that's been known about, but new technologies have enabled new color ranges to be present and better lighting, and allows us to do something that has a full chromatic spectrum.
Blacklight theater is a specialized art form, a favorite in Central Europe. Puppet builders and set decorators have to work in special lighting conditions, taking care with phosphorus paints. Under normal lights, the effect is dull. But under ultraviolet light, the vibrant colors come to life. Animagic was commissioned specially for the park. So everything, even the music score, was created from the ground up. The puppeteers are dressed in black and become invisible under the ultraviolet light, while the bright colors of the puppets come to life. In a surreal dance, they float and even fly in the darkness.
You're seated in one place. You could even, I don't know if it's possible to drop the other rod against your body and use both hands. Pull it in like that.
Yeah.
The puppeteers had to undertake intense training to coordinate and synchronize their movements in complete darkness. In fact, they even took classes in Tai Chi to perfect their perception of space.
At times we have 17 people, puppeteers dressed in black, manipulating these objects on stage, and the audience, to them, is just magic. They don't see the manipulation.
A favorite at every Disney theme park is the Daily Street Parade. In keeping with the studio's movie lot feel, this parade has a distinct Hollywood flavor.
Lights, camera, action, 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 action.
Disney Cinema Parade is the absolutely most wonderful way of bringing about parts of the cinema, the icons that we use to create a film. You need a camera, you need a script, you need a clapboard. What about the sound? What about the orchestra? And what about the audience?
Break. Take 5 while we reset.
All right, we're on break. Take 5.
Right there before your eyes, the parade stops on the street, and you are invited to become part of the film.
The first Disney theme park opened in 1955. Walt himself could never have imagined half a century on his dream coming to life in Paris.
For me, the highlights are the rock and roller coaster. It's a really thrill to ride this thing.
Today I was on the stunt show, got picked. And I had to run around screaming, pretending people were shooting at me. It was really, really good.
The tour on the bus, superb.
You can be a kid here, and it's accepted for all people who comes here. It's very nice to be once again a child.
Rewind from the top, please. Stand by.
It's the child in everyone, which has made Disney theme parks so popular. So, what's next? Well, as Walt himself once said, as long as there's imagination in the world, theme parks will never be finished. And cut! That's a wrap!
Hi, Tracy Gallagher.
A whole new meaning. Spend a little quality time at Ultimate Walt Disney World. Then at 9, because there's no room for a wallet in a grass skirt. Hawaii's best on a budget. Who wouldn't want to see Dad do the hula? It all starts next, only on
Walt Disney World, located in the heart of Central Florida. It's got classic attractions, beloved characters, and unique entertainment. But when you think of Disney, do you think of speed, thrills, adrenaline? The next hour just might change your mind. We're revealing the fastest, the wettest, the tallest, and what many believe are the most exciting attractions Walt Disney World offers. We're going to the dark side, and we're unveiling the newest and what many say is the most intense attraction Disney has ever created. It's called Mission Space. And this trip to Mars may be unlike anything you've ever experienced before. Stay tuned as we reveal the inside story of the ultimate Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World in Central Florida is a resort with almost 24 themed hotels, a nighttime entertainment district, and plenty of activities. It's become an ultimate vacation destination. It's at Disney's 4 theme parks, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney MGM Studios, Disney's Animal Kingdom, and 2 water parks, where you'll find out what ultimate really means. Back in the 60s, Walt Disney had expansion beyond California's Disneyland on his mind. And from the same mind that started the theme park phenomena came the idea to go east, Central Florida to be exact. There, he took his exceptional idea of Disneyland and recreated it on a grand scale. The Magic Kingdom was constructed, and with it came some classic attractions, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan, and Dumbo. Through the years, the Disney theme parks have been recognized by vacationers for their tradition of excellence when it comes to family fun.
I came here about 30 years ago, and it's my first time back, and brought my son, and we're having a great time reliving a lot of old memories for me and creating some for him.
But tastes change, and Disney had to respond to the desires of a new audience.
The Disney rides are branded to movies and the fun aspects of the Disney culture, but they were really lacking thrill rides. And as the baby boomers were getting a little bit older and having kids of their own, we wanted thrill rides. So the more we looked, the more we could find at Disney World, the more reasons of going.
So over time, Disney responded. Of these thrills, some are classics, some are scary, Some are wet and some are wild. And the Disney creators responsible for it all are known as Imagineers.
Imagineering is always trying to design attractions to meet ever-changing audience expectations. We stimulate all of your senses. We throw surprises at you, and we really let you feel something that physically you have never felt before in your life.
Is this what makes an attraction thrilling?
That's a great question. We always want bigger, faster. We always want to push our limits.
I think an attraction is thrilling when my kids scream.
It can be psychological, physical. It can be a combination of the two.
Creating a thrill ride that's a lot of fun and well accepted by everybody, so difficult because everybody's concept and idea of what a thrill is different.
And what's our vote for the best scream your head off thrill? It's dark, it's creepy, and it might make you scream. Again, and again, and again.
I screamed like a little girl, I sure did, and I ain't ashamed to say that. And I challenge anybody that ride this ride and tell me that they don't scream, because you will scream.
It drops you and you're just screaming and your heart comes out of your mouth and you don't know where it goes.
It really drops your stomach. You can feel yourself fall out of your seat going up into the air. His hat actually fell off when he did it.
It's called the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and it's located at the Disney MGM Studios.
From the moment guests walk down Sunset Boulevard, they see Tower of Terror looming in the distance. And that's when we begin our storytelling. This gigantic scar on the side of the building, it begins to set up the anticipation for the thrill. And then, of course, when the doors open on the outside and you see guests screaming and enjoying the ride experience, that takes it even further.
Once visitors enter the eerie Hollywood Tower Hotel, it becomes obvious that something isn't quite right.
The Tower of Terror in Florida is an old hotel that's been abandoned since 1939 when something went horribly wrong. There were some guests that disappeared. Part of the hotel went into the Twilight Zone. Suddenly find yourself a unwilling participant in the Twilight Zone.
As guests enter the lobby, you'll see a newspaper that's folded over the edge of a couch, and you'll see a glass of tea that's half empty. The attention to detail in there is very critical to setting up the story that this event has taken place, dramatically affected not only the architecture of the hotel, but all the guests, because there's nobody there.
If you can muster the courage to proceed on to the library, don't expect to find any comfort from this host.
This, as you may recognize, is a maintenance service elevator, still in operation, waiting for you. We invite you, if you dare, to step aboard, because in tonight's episode, you are the star. And this elevator travels directly to the Twilight Zone.
At the Hollywood Tower Hotel, the staff gives a creepy meaning to the phrase customer service.
Welcome, weary travelers, to the Hollywood Tower Hotel. In just a few moments, begin boarding the service elevator that will...
A bellhop that seems a bit too eager to get you into the elevator greets you as you pass a lift motor that has seen better days.
Here we are.
You've been warned, and if you've made it this far, it's too late to turn back.
I do hope you enjoy your stay with us. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Too late.
First stop, meet the hotel's ghostly guests who want you to join them as permanent residents. Stop, the fifth dimension. Here, your elevator does something that will probably surprise you. It actually breaks free from the shaft and moves into the hotel's haunted corridors. Suddenly, it becomes pitch black before... This 13-story pulse-pounding drop can make people scream even if they don't scare easy. If the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is so frightening, why do guests continue to come back?
Tower of Terror was definitely an adrenaline rush. It was a great ride, and I would totally go on it again.
All you can do is just hold on, and I was just screaming. I know I could feel it right in my hands.
Tower of Terror is one of the most amazing attractions in the world. Not just the Disney World, the entire world. It's fun beyond belief. It's something you want to get right back in and ride at the end.
So next time you decide against taking the stairs, beware. You just might fall into the Twilight Zone. Now, if screaming isn't your thing, then maybe speed is what you need. Next on our list of ultimate attractions is Walt Disney World's fastest thrill, Test Track. Located at Epcot, this high-velocity ride can reach speeds of up to 65 miles per hour.
Oh, as a pilot, that last turn was very much like an airplane ride in a high G turn, so it was real exciting.
They don't call it Test Track for nothing. Here, visitors experience the same rigors cars do before being deemed roadworthy.
They're going to be immersed into the real world of a proving ground. And a proving ground is really core to how you design and how you build and how you test an automobile.
Theme park goers are welcome to this thrill by a queue line that gives them an insider's look at pounding impact tests that are routinely done on various car components and vehicle systems. Once you're buckled up, it's time to burn rubber. Ever wonder what it feels like to be strapped inside a car during a suspension test? Or what it feels like when your brakes aren't working? And what it should feel like when they are? This attraction will even expose passengers to desert-like heat and an Arctic freeze. The pace picks up for some extreme turns during the road handling exercises. This is all a warm-up for what Disney claims is the fastest Walt Disney World thrill. The stomach in your throat, 65-mile-per-hour figure-8 glory lap. "65 miles per hour might not sound that fast, but try it while banking at 50 degrees over a 320-foot circular track.
Short of anyone that drives a NASCAR at Daytona, most people will not be able to experience a high-speed bank turn. And on Test Track, you make that last final blast at 65 miles an hour and immediately into this very high bank turn around the building. That's pretty thrilling.
I think that people have an innate thrill and desire to experience G-forces. Because whenever people experience that or are subjected to that, somehow the trigger response is that they laugh or they scream. And they're normally screams of joy, not of fear.
When you come to Epcot, you most definitely need to come to Test Track. It completes the day.
Next, we'll rediscover a Disney classic. Also, a ride that will rock you. And the countdown has begun for Mission Space, possibly the most intense thrill ride Disney has ever created. Stay tuned. We've got more of the ultimate Walt Disney World coming up. Decades of ride evolution have made Walt Disney World the ultimate location for the ultimate in thrills. From the traditional to the state-of-the-art, we're taking you to the dark side of Disney. Disney's dark rides, that is. Our next adventure takes us to Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom for a ride that's not the fastest and not the steepest, but perhaps one of the best loved. It's Space Mountain, and it's our pick for the best classic thrill.
I think we like to consider Space Mountain a Disney classic. People return over and over again to ride this attraction because it's one of their favorites.
The idea for Space Mountain originated in the early 60s as a result of Walt Disney's fascination with the exciting, imaginative birth of the space age.
Where miracles a few short years ago are accepted as commonplace today. In this Tomorrowland series, we're combining the tools of our trade with the knowledge of the scientists to give a factual picture of the latest plans for man's newest adventure.
Known for being the first ever indoor dark roller coaster, this world-renowned space race has been thrilling visitors for decades without losing a beat.
When I was a kid, when I came out, it was just about the same way. It was dark, the twisted turns. It was his first time, and it was just nice to share it with him. It really was.
Because of this attraction's nostalgia factor and broad popularity, there is a unique Space Mountain experience at every Disney-themed resort around the world.
Disney has a Space Mountain in every Magic Kingdom Disneyland park around the world. It really is something that people expect when they go to the park. You say Space Mountain to anybody and they know what it is.
Once you board the space train, anticipation rises as blastoff draws near. Get ready to explore the final frontier in classic Disney fashion. Your spacecraft winds its way through the dark from a height of 90 feet. There are also two completely separate tracks that promise two unique ride experiences.
Space Mountain is awesome. It's indoors. You don't know what's going to happen. It's dark. It's thrilling. It's so much fun.
You may think you're traveling at warp speed, but you'll never believe how fast this space voyage really goes.
The sensation of speed in Space Mountain is enhanced by the fact that special effects and all kinds of things are happening to you while you're inside a controlled environment. This makes it much more thrilling than just a roller coaster on the outside.
I think I was going, I don't know, maybe about like 30, 40 miles an hour.
The speed at which space travelers travel through Space Mountain is much slower than they may think.
I thought I was going about 50 or 40 miles per hour.
Space Mountain may make you feel like you've rocketed into space, but this next thrill just might rock your world. Disney MGM Studios is where you'll find a white-knuckled, heart-pounding coaster with a well-known soundtrack. Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. Our pick for the best adrenaline rush.
The launch was definitely intense. It definitely pushed you back into your seat.
The idea behind Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith was to create a thrilling attraction that was synchronized to music. In many ways, Space Mountain was really the genesis for this idea. A lot of the early Imagineers to this project rode that attraction with headphones on and listening to rock and roll music while they went through that ride experience, dreaming of the day that that technology could come together.
If Space Mountain is the original dark coaster, then Rock and Roller Coaster is the dark coaster for the next generation.
Space Mountain was the first indoor high-speed thrill attraction. We took that idea and blew it out for the next generation by adding rock music, visuals, special effects, and all the stuff that you experience at Rock and Roller Coaster.
Disney sets the scene at a fictional record company called G-Force Records, where you've been invited to join a few rock and roll icons during a recording session. These rockers know how to treat their fans right, as everyone's been invited to their concert.
To get to the rock concert, Aerosmith orders up the biggest, longest stretch limousine available in Hollywood, and it's delivered to us in the form of the vehicle that we're going to get to the concert in.
Once your super stretch limo has arrived, buckle up and get ready for a 0 to 60 launch in 2.8 seconds, catapulting you straight into the first of 2 inversions and 1 corkscrew. Then race through the Hollywood Hills with the force of 5 Gs. Of course, you make it to the concert just in time. Rock and Roller Coaster unveiled some firsts for Walt Disney World.
It was the first launching coaster, first roller coaster that was timed synchronously to music, and it was the first roller coaster that had inversions.
The initial takeoff is so powerful, it's all that's needed to sustain velocity throughout the entire ride.
Guests can expect an amazing adrenaline rush from the launch sequence. It's 0 to 60, pin your head back in the chair type of experience.
Classic rock songs and an adrenaline-charged launch seems to keep people coming back for more.
Thrill seekers and just Disney show lovers come to Rock and Roller Coaster again to experience the thrills and see the visuals and live the story over and over again.
It's like an adrenaline rush again and again and again.
I would say it's a great adrenaline rush, especially right from the beginning.
Space Mountain was my favorite, actually, until now. Until I just got off this one. That Rock and Roller Coaster is now my favorite.
As Space Mountain ushered in the supersonic era of Rock and Roller Coaster, the development of dark rides evolved into new Disney adventures. Our next Ultimate Walt Disney World thrill shows how modern, high-tech tampering with an extinct species can get extremely wild. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, you'll find Walt Disney World's best thrill in the dark, Dinosaur. But is this sensory overload thrill truly a traditional Disney dark ride?
When we looked at the evolution of what a dark ride is, we thought, okay, what's the next generation?
I think is the next level. It's the next step. The sound experience, I think, is the best I've ever had.
Expect the unexpected because you never know what's around the corner.
Like all Disney attractions, your journey begins with a story. And this story takes place at the Dino Institute, where you've just been volunteered to take on a perilous assignment.
We, the guests, are being enlisted to go back in time to save an iguanodon from extinction, the extinction that's brought about by the meteor shower at the end of the age of dinosaurs. We're caught in the meteor shower, and then we're pursued through the darkness of this meteor storm by Carnotaurus.
Your only hope for survival? The Time Rover. A vehicle built to outrun fierce dinosaurs and beat the clock in a race against time. This prehistoric forest is alive and hungry. You soon find out the iguanodon isn't the only one who needs rescuing, because in this time period, you're no longer the top of the food chain. The stakes couldn't be higher as a planet-killing asteroid is mere moments away, causing a terrorizing meteor shower. Do our time travelers find the iguanodon and arrive back to the future in time? Let's just say survival of the fittest is a rule to live by.
Dinosaur was designed specifically to be a very dark environment.
Being in dark definitely amplified my feelings and my senses. It makes you wonder what's going to happen next.
To make life-size dinosaurs, Disney had to create the largest audio animatronics they had ever constructed. The attention to detail at Dinosaur is so intricate, many consider the ride to be a sensory overload experience.
Sensory overload means we're doing a whole lot of things to you at the same time. We're impacting all of your senses. There's so many things happening to you that you can't possibly take it all in at the same time.
We're only halfway through our tour of the ultimate Walt Disney World. Just wait to see what we have coming up next. Here's a hint. A change of clothes might be needed. And later, training is about to begin for a mission at Disney's newest attraction. Coming up.
Travel Channel's Great Family Vacations Week is brought to you in part by Suzuki. Now you really can have it all with our all-new premium compact, the Forenza.
Game time.
Introducing the all-new Suzuki Forenza, loaded with premium features, more room than Civic, and America's #1 warranty. Score. The all-new Suzuki Forenza. Now you really can have it all.
Because there's no room for a wallet in a grass skirt. Hawaii's best on a budget. Premieres next when Great Family Vacations Week continues. Join John Ratzenberger as he visits towns and cities across the country to see how we've got it made in America. This week, Mansfield, Ohio, where the Carousel Magic Company carves those beautiful horses and keeps an old school craft alive. And Cincinnati, Ohio, home to the pure white clean of Ivory soap since 1879. Go inside the factory with John Ratzenberger's Made in America, and it's all new tomorrow at 9 on the Travel Channel.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
Few votes in Congress are as important as funding our troops at war. Though John Kerry voted in October 2002 for military action in Iraq, he later voted against funding our soldiers.
Mr. Kerry.
No. Body armor and higher combat pay for our troops.
Mr. Kerry.
No. Better health care for reservists.
Mr. Kerry.
No. And what does Kerry say now?
I actually did vote for the $87 billion. Before I voted against it.
Wrong on defense.
Out here, the sun doesn't just set, it simmers. The trees are taller than buildings, and dreams are just a short step from reality. This is California, the Golden State. And the memories are here just waiting for you to find them. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo Country, and with values like this, they're easy to explore. Alamo, the official rental car of the American vacation.
Secret to winning, rig the game.
See the movie critics are calling one of the best of 2003.
Time to get messy.
Stylish. Sexy. Spectacular.
It might get a wee bit dangerous there, sugar butt.
Johnny Depp does it again. He's as good as it gets.
This is supposed to be the big dance number.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Rated R.
This body is made by Bowflex. I'm 47 years old, and this is a real Bowflex body. The Bowflex is the best piece of equipment I've ever owned.
The quality of the Bowflex is excellent. I really use it, and I really enjoy it. The quality of the machine, I mean, it's just great. We can't beat it.
Everyone should own a Bowflex. It's no gimmick, it's no joke. You want a bodybuilder physique, you gotta work out like a bodybuilder. And with the Bowflex, you can do that.
Discover the quality that makes Bowflex America's favorite home gym. Call or visit us online today.
We're back with the Travel Channel's Great Family Vacations Week.
The Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney's Animal Kingdom, and Disney MGM Studios. What do they all have in common? Other than Mickey Mouse, they all have what many consider to be the ultimate in thrill rides. Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom is the place to be, where you'll find our pick for the best family thrill, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, inspired by the Disney presentation of the Pixar films Toy Story and Toy Story 2.
Buzz Lightyear is one of the ultimate family thrill experiences because the entire family can enjoy it together.
Buzz Lightyear needs you to save the universe. And for this space adventure, we looked for a few good families of spirited Space Ranger recruits.
We're the Greenwalds. We're from Oviedo, Florida.
We've been recruited by Buzz to be junior Space Rangers and go out and stop the evil Emperor Zurg, who is trying to steal all the batteries from all the toys in the universe.
If you separate your family between a couple of cars, you get to have some competition between the two groups.
When target practice is over, you find yourself surrounded by the evil Emperor Zurg and his minions.
The score is accumulated by hitting Emperor Zurg's Z insignia. They're hidden throughout the ride. Some are more obvious than others. Some have higher points than others.
Buzz's Space Ranger Spin offers its passengers a unique ride experience, featuring an interactive vehicle that puts you in control.
You combine a spinning action, which is controlled by the guests in the joystick, and also this laser-pointed firing mechanism that gives you the chance to be interactive. And there's also a scoring system on board that keeps track of how many targets you hit. So at the end of the ride, you get to see how well you did compared to other Space Rangers.
Who can claim to be the best of the best?
He was mad because I beat him.
Yeah, right.
The interactivity of Buzz Lightyear is heightened in the fact that parents and kids get to go through together.
On this ride, you not only save the universe, kids and parents can get some payback as well.
It was the two of us against his brother and his dad.
It was the two of us against my wife and my other son, and we had 24,000 points, and I don't know how many they had because they wouldn't tell us.
3,333.
But it all in the end means that you need to come back over and over again to experience and get better and better and become a better junior Space Ranger.
Our next Walt Disney World attractions are sure to keep you cool on those hot Florida summer days. In Frontierland at the Magic Kingdom, you'll find Splash Mountain, which gets our nod as the ride with the most thrilling finish.
Well, I rode this ride and I screamed and yelled so much I've lost my voice, but it's the best ride here at Disney World.
The whole idea of riding around in the water is just a very refreshing idea when you're out there on a hot summer day.
Anticipation begins from the moment guests enter Frontierland as they first glimpse the 50-foot plunge.
When people walk into Frontierland, across the rivers of America sits Splash Mountain. The thing that really comes and grabs people's attention is every 12 seconds, a log full of 8 passengers comes down the face of that mountain and they're screaming. We know you get on the boat anticipating that, and we know you're actually looking forward to that in sort of a dreadful way. We build the anticipation with the story then.
Once on board the log, it's traditional Disney storytelling.
They've taken an old Song of the South movie and have created a very contemporary ride. If you look around, you see Brer Rabbit, you see all the characters that you've grown up with.
Against the advice of Mr. Bluebird, Brer Rabbit leaves the Briar Patch on a quest for adventure. Brer Fox and Brer Bear are hot on the innocent rabbit's tail as they plot to do him in. Expect some dips and turns along your journey through the Song of the South.
As you enter the mountain, and you're in sort of a bright little scene, and there's happy songs, the chorus is upbeat. Brer Rabbit is not being outsmarted by Brer Fox and Brer Bear, and as you go along, they start to get closer and closer to catching him as you get closer and closer to your own drop.
Suspense rises as spooky caves, hollowed trees, and lurking shadows come to life along this classic voyage. And what awaits you is one of the biggest thrills at Walt Disney World.
And then you go over that falls and yee-ow, baby, you're gone. and you splash and you get soaked and you laugh and you know that that falls is going to be there, but you kind of forget about it because of the music and because of those cute little characters that you see, and it's unique to Disney, definitely.
This 5-story plunge promises a 40-mile-per-hour nosedive, making it the fastest drop in the Magic Kingdom.
The drop is thrilling because you build up anticipation. Your stomach starts to go in knots. You think you're going to fall out, but you won't. And you go down and you see everything in front of you. It's really scary, but also fun.
But what sets Splash Mountain apart, making it such an original log ride?
It's just one of those attractions that has what we call a Disney difference. You can go on a lot of log flume rides at other places, but you don't get the whole immersion into a storyline full of characters, full of song, full of dance.
Oh, you're nervous, you're excited, but then when it's all over, you just want to ride it again and again.
If you think the drop at Splash Mountain was fast, think again. Try a 55-mile-per-hour vertical dive. This isn't your traditional Disney attraction. Here, you're on your own. No seatbelts, no ride vehicle, nowhere to go but down. 120 feet straight down. It's at Blizzard Beach, where you'll find some of the most extreme water rides in the world. And the ultimate is the plummet. Summit Plummet, to be exact. The most terrifying plunge at Walt Disney World atop the watery Mount Gushmore.
Blizzard Beach was one of the craziest ideas I think we've ever come up with. We came up with this idea of what if a freak snowstorm had hit this mountain area in Central Florida and this crazy gator decided to go out and make $1 million setting up a ski resort, only to find that this freak snowstorm was truly a freak snowstorm and it all started to melt.
With high-velocity water rides like toboggan racers and the slush gusher, you'd think you've reached the pinnacle of wet excitement. But they are nothing compared to what awaits high up on the precipice of Summit Plummet.
The mountain is 90 feet tall. We needed to rise above it. So at 120 feet, you're expected to crawl up there in your bathing suit, lie down, cross your arms, cross your legs, cross your ankles, and go down, plunge down the face of this mountain. And people do it, and it's got to take a lot of nerve.
Skiers will have to hike up to the highest point of Mount Gushmore, where nerves of steel may be required to take the plunge at the nation's tallest water slide.
The higher you get as you're going up the stairs, the anticipation builds up because you don't know what to expect and you really can't see how high up you're going. So as soon as you turn a corner, there's some more stairs and it's like, oh my gosh, how high is this thing going to get?
You're at the very top of the summit and you look out and see everything. You're laying there and you know it's going to be fast and they say good luck. And that's what makes it scary, because of the unforeseen. You can't see where you're going to land.
You may think twice, even 3 times before continuing, because this vertical challenge isn't for everyone.
It was thrilling because when you first go over the dip, you can't see anything. And you got water splashing in your eyes. It's really hard to see. And before you know it, you're at the bottom.
That's 0 to 55 miles per hour in less than a second. And nothing but gravity's guarantee that you will come down safe and sound.
Going down Summit Plummet is so much fun, watching everybody go down and then just peering over right before you go down. It's so scary, but then once you get to the bottom, it's all worth it. It's just a big adrenaline rush.
It was awesome. It makes me want to go up there again and just start right back all over again. It was a blast.
At Disney, even a water slide is more than meets the eye.
We had this idea to add a special effect that when a rider goes down Summit Plummet, they will cross a beam that will send off a burst of water off the end of the ski jump. So from the ground, if you didn't know better, it looked like a rider is going off the ski jump.
Ready to dry off? Not so fast. When we come back, we'll see more ultimate Disney thrills, including the wettest and wildest Disney has to offer.
Travel Channel's Great Family Vacations Week is brought to you in part by Kia Motors. Kia, make every mile count.
Well, we looked up the Sienna, but we got the Kia Sedona instead.
It was $2,300 less and has a 10-year warranty. Your Sienna's got that, right?
No.
And I got 3 years free maintenance. Can you believe that? You got free maintenance? Are you okay?
Dare to compare a Kia Sedona before you buy. With a 5-star safety rating, a 10-year warranty, and now for a limited time, get 3 years free maintenance. When you add it all up, there's no comparison.
Because there's no room for a wallet in a grass skirt. Hawaii's best on a budget. Premieres next when Great Family Vacations Week continues. There's something about that sound that just makes your mouth water and makes your feet set Olympic records in the 100-yard dash. Tomorrow, Great Family Vacations Week continues. Ice cream. On a truck? In a store? Off our hands? We'll eat it anywhere. So come along and visit some of our favorite ice cream palaces. Premieres tomorrow at 8, only on the Travel Channel.
In the world of digital cameras, there are 4 great names, but only one owns the name, the official digital camera of the Internet, Pentax Optio.
Optio.
Optio. Long day.
Yeah.
And we've got your minivan ready.
Thanks. What would it be like if Avis didn't try harder?
Long day.
Tell me about it.
Okay, well, this morning I go to have some coffee and I'm out of it, so then I have to go out and get some, and I couldn't get any service. Don't you hate that?
I need a minivan.
We don't have any minivans. So then I get to work and I have this cricket.
If we didn't try harder, we wouldn't be Avis. Call us or click on avis.com for our best deals.
The lion. Powerful, fierce, truly the king of the beasts. The tiger, cunning, stealthy, the hunter's hunter. Ever wonder what would happen if they met? Robocats rise as zoologists and engineers create clawed and jawed contenders. Scientifically analyzed for the ultimate catfight. Animal Face-Off, Lion vs. Tiger. Sunday at 9. Entertain your brain on the Discovery Channel.
Life. To really live it, you need to stay strong, get active. And for most of us, that means losing weight. And now you can do it in half the time. Introducing the Nautilus Tread Climber, a machine so effective, we guarantee results in just 30 days. One short workout on the Tread Climber burns twice as many calories as treadmills, bikes, or stair-steppers. The secret is the unique dual treadles that let you step up as you walk forward, so you do twice the work in one effortless motion. Tread Climber is easy on the joints because it's as simple as walking. Pick up the phone, call and ask for your free video or DVD that tells you all about the Tread Climber. Get on with your life in half the time. Just 3 short workouts a week on the Tread Climber will get you in the best shape of your life. Now you can own a Tread Climber with no money down and affordable monthly payments. Call us for a free video or DVD, or visit us at nautilusdirect.com today.
Because there's no room for a wallet in a grass skirt. Hawaii's best on a budget. Premieres next when Great Family Vacations Week continues. We're back with the Travel Channel's Great Family Vacations Week.
For the past 3 decades, Walt Disney World has produced attractions that are synonymous with family fun. But as you can see, the mouse also wants to satisfy the adrenaline junkies' need for a great rush. Our next stop is Disney's Animal Kingdom, where thrill seekers can get wet and wild while enduring some intense whitewater action. It's Cali River Rapids, our vote for Walt Disney World's wettest thrill.
We love to get wet. We got soaked and we love it.
You never really know what's coming next, and you're always spinning and going around curves.
Don't even worry about wearing your ponchos, because as you can see, you'll get soaked anyway.
Located in the heart of the Asian rainforest, Cali River Rapids is a fast-paced, whitewater adventure. And you'll really feel like you're in Asia when walking through this queue line filled with Asian antiquities.
Our queue lines are always a part of our story, and they set up the mood that we want you to participate in. And it presents you also with a setting that you can believe in that is somewhere in India, somewhere in the foothills of the Himalayas.
It's time to take on Kali River Rapids with these explorers as they embark upon a turn.
Get very, very wet on Kali River Rapids. You can get completely soaked. There's a question of who's going to get it next and where is it going to come from. It's a little bit of a Russian roulette kind of thing. As the ride rotates and moves through the river, it's a big mystery who is going to be the victim of the next big splash.
Beware as this waterlogged adventure starts to heat up.
We discover that a section of the rainforest is being cut down by an illegal logging company, and we're caught in the flood created by this damage and now have to escape from the river, which is out of control, and find our way back to civilization.
With the forest ablaze and a tanker truck overturned, your escape route is about to get a little wet. And by a little, we mean a lot.
Bring it on!
Rapids form a drop of something like 40 feet. And at the bottom of that drop, you are pushing a mountain of water in front of you, which then comes down on top of the raft, and somebody has to get very, very wet.
I like the drop because we got really, really wet at the end.
This has been the wettest Walt Disney ride I've ever been on.
When we come back, it's time to unveil a secret mission. Stay tuned. We have more stellar action coming up.
Travel Channel's Great Family Vacations Week is brought to you in part by MSN.com. Life's better with a butterfly. Come see how at MSN.com.
Whoa, my high school reunion's coming up.
Let's knock them dead.
Go, 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 go! Yoga on Friday?
Everybody's doing it.
Our tour of the ultimate Walt Disney World has finally brought us to Disney's hottest new thrill. It's Mission Space, located in Epcot's Future World.
It was intense.
I've never experienced anything like this ride before. I really felt like I was going to space.
Mission Space may be an experience unlike anything that has ever been done before.
Mission Space is an incredibly realistic rocket launch experience. Guests can come to our training facility and find out what it's like to train the way that real astronauts train.
Walt Disney World has had a long history of and affinity for space-themed attractions.
At Disneyland, we've had Rocket to the Moon, we've had Mission to Mars. Here we have Mission Space. Walt Disney himself has had a history with the whole space program effort. There was a TV show in the 50s called Man in Space.
Some modern classic Disney voyages include Space Mountain, the Astro Orbiter, and Star Tours. Disney has a mission of its own, and that mission is to bring the most realistic ride experiences to their guests.
There's really nothing else out there that makes you feel so clearly like you're in a rocket.
I don't think there's anything like this attraction anywhere in the world.
Once you've entered the building, you arrive at the International Space Training Center, the ISTC, where over 30 years in the future, you've become an astronaut in training to man the X-2 spacecraft for a harrowing mission. What's the mission? How about an exciting interplanetary journey to Mars? That's right. Disney sends you and your team of explorers to the Red Planet.
Each guest is assigned a specific role in the capsule. We have commander, navigator, pilot, and engineer, and each of them has specific tasks.
Those with the right stuff must perform these tasks in order to arrive to their final destination successfully and safely.
For example, the pilot is responsible for second stage rockets. When the pilot pushes that button, you can feel the rush of the rockets, you can hear the roar, and you really know that you initiated a system in the spacecraft.
Now that you've been debriefed, it's time to strap in and hold on tight for the ride.
Mission Control, this is the firing room. Give us the go, no-go for launch.
You are go for launch.
We have main engine start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Mission Control, the tower is clear. They're all yours.
Your training is put to the test in true Disney fashion as something goes awry. As Mission Space guides us into the future of thrill ride experiences, what's next for the ultimate Walt Disney World?
I want to ride something that's unique and different, and it's got to be better than what I did last time.
I think that Disney thrill ride in 10 to 20 years will always have the story. I don't think you're ever going to see Disney go pure extreme thrill ride. That's for someone else to do.
Virtual reality that is so immersive and so real that your suspension of disbelief is more extreme than it ever has been before.
The first step in this virtual revolution can be seen at the Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland, where you'll find Mickey's PhilharMagic. Here, Donald Duck takes guests along for a unique three-dimensional voyage into the world of classic Disney animated features while riding the wave of Disney music. A 165-degree seamless screen and in-theater lighting, water and sound effects makes for an immersive experience. Viewers are within reach of the largest cast of animated characters that Disney has ever assembled. This attraction not only raises the bar for Disney, it provides the foundation for amazing advancements in the years to come. Walt Disney wanted to ensure that his Walt Disney World would continue to grow and expand. And after 30 years, the thrill factor on Disney attractions has seen a quantum leap forward. And the next 30 years is sure to deliver even more exciting thrills so that there will always be an ultimate Walt Disney World.
Hi, I'm Tracy Gallagher for the Travel Channel in St. Paul, Minnesota.
The dawn of man. Having consumed his last mastodon, Homo erectus suspiciously ponders his next culinary move.
Hang Bob.
Hang Bob, Nobby.
That flatbat knee cog.